What's up, everyone? Welcome to Baseball 4 Podcast. Gus Rico here, episode 36. Yep, 36 here. Man, we apologize for being a little late. We got a new we got a new podcast name. It's going to be Baseball 4 Podcast, always running late. What do you think about that one?
That's a good one.
That's a great one.
I'll take that.
You know what? As a matter of fact, why don't you guys comment below and let us know what kind of what name we should use for our new name here. But we apologize. Just some minor difficulties here. But anyways, shout out their wife and kids, players, coaches, our parents, tournament directors. Again, you guys do an amazing job out there getting our kids out on the field, especially with the some rain out there in the forecast and what we went through. But thank you guys so much. To Ponch over at Hot Corner Baseball. If you guys, Little League's coming up, you guys need anything, he's on in North Hills. Go visit him. Bagger Sports in Santa Clarita. She does an amazing job, Norma and her staff. So let's get going here. Braves updates. We got a running club coming up here. If anybody wants to stay healthy or go out and take a run, go right ahead. Come join us. That's going to take place on Super Bowl Sunday at 7 a.m. 7, not 6, 7 a.m. So come join us. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll run a couple miles and get together after. If you haven't yet, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We hit 167 subscribers last week. That is great. We want to get to 200, right, Lira?
Yes, sir. That's our goal.
And this weekend we got our Braves playing. Some of the coaches are in Vegas with the high school. We got Braves in USSSA. We got AAU. Again, we support everyone out there. From PG to AAU to SSSA, NCS. They all do an amazing job out there. So we are busy once again. It is cold out there. So Braves players, parents, if you guys are listening, make sure our kids bring a Brave sweater to practice with them, and long sleeves under, preferably navy or black. With that being said, to my left, I got co-host Andy Lira.
Yeah, welcome back to episode 36.
Pick up the energy a little bit, please.
Definitely. The energy's there. You know what I mean? It's just more of our new nickname. We're always running late. You know what I'm saying? Like we tried to stop it, but at this point, I guess it just became who we are at this point. You know what I mean?
But I kind of like that name because we just run late. Like if it's at 11, I'll be like, oh, they know we're gonna run late, so just start at whatever time we're.
But the content's always there. You know what I mean? And that's the best part. So, but yeah, no, welcome back. Like you said, the updates are there. Good luck to all the Braves teams playing this weekend. Good luck to these guys in Vegas with their high school team to go win some games there. But man, I'm excited for this one as well. I mean, I want to say our last 4 or 5 episodes has just been getting more like baseball content to where it's like different views of different areas of baseball minds coming together here at the Baseball 4 podcast. So we do appreciate that, and we got another one here today. Another guy that's going to bring an insight of the game at his highest level. He is a pitching coach with the Pirates. We definitely excited to ask what the mind of Paul Skees goes, but as well as all the other guys that he's worked with, he's so from the area as well here in LA. So we want to get started and furthermost introduce Oscar Marin.
What up? Oh, there he is.
Hi, guys. How are you guys doing? Appreciate you guys having me on.
I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, no, thank you.
This is an honor, especially for 818.
Yes, sir.
Representation.
Yeah, man. I want to thank my brother for making it happen. It's you know what? I'll be honest with you. It's not easy to get a guest, especially when they have to come in, or even like now that we had Kurt Suzuki and we had Eric Burns on Zoom, and I mean it's great, it's cool, but it's so hard to people say, hey, I'm gonna get my own podcast going. It's like, man, good luck. Or I'm gonna get my own program going. Good luck. Like, come talk to me. Come sit down first. I want to tell you the ins and outs. And I mean, we threw ourselves into this, and we still don't know what we're doing, as you can see. But no, man, thanks for coming on, man. That means a lot to us, and it means a lot to the community around here. A lot of these, young athletes probably don't know who Oscar Marin is. I mean, you are a kid from the 818. You did grow up, out here, but, with that being said, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Obviously you guys know my name is Oscar Marin. I grew up in Sun Valley, California. Played at Sun Valley Little League. After that, just kind of moved on to what would be high school, and I went to Chatsworth High School. So I got bussed over from Sun Valley to Chatsworth, which was a long ride every morning, having to go to Sun Valley Junior High to get a bus and leave at 6 in the morning to try to get on time for school, obviously. But did my time there with Coach Museborn. Had a fantastic high school experience. It was fantastic because I showed up not being the guy, and I had to kind of work myself up to be who I wanted to be. And one thing about Coach Museborn is he challenged you every single day to try to get better and to try to get better in that team that I walked into. I was undersized. Everybody felt like giants when I showed up. And I actually didn't make the team my first year there.
Wow.
I ended up as a sophomore, junior, and senior being on the team. But, it was a road of going up, and there was a lot of things that, my school was I was supposed to go to Poly, and I was supposed to have a spot there. Right. And my dad's like, nah. I want you to go over to Chatsworth. My cousin, Ishmael Marin, was already, I would say, a star there. He was a starting pitcher for the varsity team. And, that's how it kind of started up. And it was a really good challenge for me to kind of know where I needed to be and to get to actually be on the team.
Oh, man, that's Chatsworth, man, going through that school right there welcomes a lot of great athletes, like a lot of good players there, and going over there to Chatsworth, especially in those bus rides, shows dedication, and you going and getting yourself there, and then not only not making the first team, but you stick with it to keep going, and I think that's great because man, those are the stories that usually come out, and then now look where you're at now. A lot of those moments there where adversity hits, and you could easily be like, "No, I want to go home, go back to Poly, or do whatever it is," and you stuck through it, and that shows a lot of grit and shows what the A1A is really about, to be honest.
No, absolutely, man, and that's one of the things just in general, being a part of that. Also, you kind of got a frame of what it's all about, and one of the things I got from Coach Museborn is. That kind of flowed into my coaching career is like the structure, the intent behind the practices, and everything that we did was to influence the game and to win the game. And that carried on to my future coaching career. And it just flowed into where I was when I went to Valley College, because I went to Valley College right after that for 2 years. That's where I met Mr. Chuy Rico as well.
Yes, sir.
And just the experiences that I had there, again, showed up as a 17-year-old in a man's game that I thought at the time, and just kind of working myself up. I got lucky enough to make an all-star game right after that, and I think that's where everything kind of started for me. I got a couple of teams of interest in college, Arkansas Little Rock being one of them that I ended up going to. And it was a scary moment having to think about leaving family 818 California to Arkansas Little Rock. I never knew where Arkansas was on the map.
Yeah.
I don't know Little Rock. But I'm glad I took that jump and I took that leap. I ended up going over there, partial scholarship. And I met my pitching coach, Carl Kuhn, who really helped me out through my entire career. After Arkansas Little Rock, he ended up being the pitching coach at Virginia, and he did really great things there. But that really, LA Valley really kind of was like, okay, I need to get bigger. I need to get faster. I need to have a niche that I have that's going to propel me to do something different. And I tried different things. So I was a reliever in my first year, and I was begging to be a starter in my second year, and I did. I ended up doing that. I didn't know what type of a toll that was going to take in my body, right, being the way I threw, which was a sidearm action. But Ended up doing that. Arkansas Little Rock was next. Spent the 2 years there. Learned a lot. That's the first time I ever started kind of implementing a lot of what Tom House was teaching at the time. As my pitching coach was a big Tom House guy. Getting into biomechanics when I didn't understand a thing about it. I was just, all right, this is what we're doing. But that's probably what hit me the most of like what the next level is about and what the next level would be after that, right? It's now I'm showing up and everybody's bigger than me. Everybody's stronger than me. Everybody's throwing harder than me. And that's when I really had to change the way I was doing things, how to take care of my body, what was pitching. It wasn't just throwing. And just, getting that influence from a coach like him really, really helped me out. And I finished off my playing career there, and just like everybody else who finishes their playing career, they're really upset at baseball at some point. Like, how did I not get drafted? What's going on? Like, I should be one of those guys up there. And in all reality, what I came to find out, I wasn't even close. And because of those experiences, right, I ended up coming back. And coaching that man that's sitting right next to you right there, Lira, for a year at LA Valley.
Okay.
I coached there for 2 years. And then after that, I moved on to Harvard Westlake with Matt LaCour. Matt LaCour was looking to turn around the program there, and he absolutely did. He did a great job to start it off. He got a bunch of the Chatsworth guys to go with him. I was one of them.
Still there.
Still there, yeah.
Yeah. He's an 80, all right?
Yeah. And the Chatsworth guys are still there. Go figure.
That's where it all started. I was his pitching coordinator because they had obviously middle school program and the high school program. I was a pitching coach, and I was also like the JV head coach at the time. At the time, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to do a little bit of everything, experience everything. Just like you guys are doing with the Braves. We had my friend, myself and Alex Kolkel started Rats Baseball Club back in the day.
That's right.
And we started it as a feeder into, for the high school team at Harvard Westlake, but we had all of our middle school players there. Giolito was a Rat.
You're right.
At one time.
Yeah.
And that happened there. Things were trending the right way. And I got a call from my college pitching coach, Carl Kuhn. He said that Scott Service, he was the farm director with the Rangers at the time, was looking for a pitching coach that spoke Spanish to just help out during the summer.
You're like,
yeah.
Okay.
So I said, yeah, I'm interested. And Scott Service gave me a call. He said, this is what we need. We need you to help out the pitching coach there with all the Latin players and, just kind of learn from him. He said, when can you be there? And I said, I'll drive over tomorrow.
When can you be there now? On my way.
For real.
It was just a summer job. It wasn't supposed to be anything else but that.
Damn.
And I drove down there. I told Matt LaCour, I was like, hey, there's an opportunity. Is it okay if I miss the summer? I'll be back during the season for fall.
Yeah.
And I never came back.
To this day, they're still waiting for you.
Never came back, but I was very fortunate for him to kind of leave that open for me. But after I finished off the summer, they asked me to stay for instructional league. And basically I was told from our pitching coordinator at the time, Danny Clark, big influence in my life. He goes, all right, man, you have basically a 1 month interview to see if we're going to get this job. So you do a good job here during instructional leave. You kind of see the ropes, see if the guys like you, meaning the coaching staff, Scott Service, and then we'll take it from there. That was the most pressure I've ever felt during 1 full month of coaching. But a lot of that coaching was listening, being a sponge, taking everything in, learning from the other experienced coaches that were there. And I was lucky enough. They offered me, Scott Service offered me a full-time job. And it was funny the way it happened. It was the last game of instructional league. We're at the Dodgers complex. I was watching a bullpen before a guy gets into the game. He pulls me off to the side of one of the palm trees. He goes, "Hey, do you want a full-time job?" Wow. I'm like, yeah, but let me finish getting this guy ready. Let me get back to you real quick.
Always take pride in what you do.
He's still got to finish off his job.
Yeah.
So did that, offered me the job. He says, "Hey, we want you to stay in Arizona." And that's where the trajectory started, right? I was a pitching coach in the AZL for a couple of years. And then just started kind of going level to level from there. I went to a short season rookie ball in Spokane, did a year there. Then I went to low A, Hickory, North Carolina, did 2 years there. And then the last year with the Rangers in my first stint was in high A, in high desert. That place doesn't exist anymore. And that was a challenge coaching there. The wind was blowing out about 60 miles per hour out the entire season.
Hey, great pitch.
Did that, won the championship. We felt good about it. Loved the Rangers, loved the opportunities that they gave me. Then got a call from the Mariners needing a pitching coordinator. I ended up interviewing, getting the job. So I spent 2 years with the Seattle Mariners as their pitching coordinator. Phenomenal 2 years, learned a lot. I was challenged even harder. My job, as they told me, was I need you to influence analytics and the new age of baseball to our coaches and our players. You got 2 years to do it, and if you don't do it, we'll find somebody else to do it. Wow. But it went great. It's Scott Service again, right? Just getting to know people, treating people right, doing a good job. Scott Service ended up going to the Mariners, was the manager over there at the time, and then he helped me get over again. He gave me my second job, second opportunity to do something different in professional baseball. But loved it. Thought we did a nice job there, influencing those 2 years. Interviewed for the big league coaching job after my second year, which was nice. Just a great opportunity to go through the process, things like that. And then I was good. I was good where I was at, right? And like a month later, I get a call from the Rangers again. They're needing interviewing for the big league pitching job and the bullpen job. And I ended up getting the bullpen job, going back to the Rangers for a year.
There you are.
Again, yeah, there it is.
Look at him.
Yeah, that's a lot of black in that beard. And then spent a year there. Awesome, right? It was great just to have that first year in the big leagues.
Yeah.
Bullpen coach, being on that side of the ball and not being that pitching coach per se, day-to-day stuff that was going on. And I loved it. I was happy where I was at. And again, I get a call from the Pirates at this point. I'm coaching winter ball in Puerto Rico. Wow. I get a call from the Pirates. Hey, we're interviewing for big league coaching jobs, pitching jobs, and we want you to interview. I said, well, I'm coaching in Puerto Rico. Where do you want to do this? I ended up flying to Tampa, and in the Tampa airport, having the interview and flying right back to Puerto Rico to finish off the season. Wow. I ended up getting the job, and 6 years later, I'm still here. So
there you are.
That was the trajectory that I had throughout the process. And the only thing I'd like to say about, going through this, and I think what really helped me out, the influence of people around me, especially the people that I grew up with the Rangers, my pitching coordinator, one of my biggest influences too, a pitching coach that was there, Jeff Andrews, Mark Connor, a special assistant. They really took me under their wing and they told me to worry about the moment. They told me to worry about like being where my feet are. And then everything would kind of just take care of itself. And I took that to heart because for me, where I came from, right, I just explained where I was at. Didn't play professional baseball, to be in the spot that I was in. I felt like every level where I was at, I was really happy where I was at. And I was trying to do the best job possible. Right. I wasn't worried about what was next. I wasn't worried about what happened before. Just in the moment, I want to be the best pitching coach I can possibly be, best coordinator, best whatever role I had at the moment, and just be great at it. And I feel like that was a big part of why I got to where I was at. Never chasing anything. It was just always, being great where I was at.
Well, people are probably wondering why I'm wearing this jersey. I'm wearing it to honor you and all your hard work. And I mean, I know firsthand that everything you do, you take pride in it, and you still do. And I do believe in the baseball gods, and so does Lira, and I'm for sure you do, and that you have been rewarded a lot, and you still are. Keep going. I mean, there's a lot of success that you've done for all of us. I mean, we definitely look up to you, and it's like, man, look where he's at. Like that's amazing. To all of us here, we're coaching high school baseball, we're managing, travel ball teams, and
yep,
we try to do it to the best of our ability, and to where you're over here, pitching coach, one of the greatest pitchers in MLB. We'll get to that right now, though. We'll save that one for a little bit.
Yeah. All I took and keep hearing is these opportunities, right? And living in the moment to realize the opportunity that you have there. And a lot of people sometimes would have looked at your process or be like, I'm too good for this, or I know way more than, instead of just being like, hey, you know what? I'm blessed where I'm at. I'm going to learn. Yeah. I don't have to be the number one guy. I can be the number 4 guy and become a sponge and live in the moments of, wow, I'm here and I never thought I can be here, and I'm here. I'm going to do the best I can at this moment. Whatever role it is, right? And that role was yours, in whether it be the pitching coordinator or just being there to be a sponge and be like, hey, I'm going to speak Spanish for you. And go there. A lot of people would have been like, for what? I got to go all over there just to speak Spanish to help people. But he's seen that as an opportunity to go.
Absolutely.
And now look how far you've come. So every little opportunity may not look like a lot in the moment, but if you live in the moment that you did get opportunity and you do well in it and you take pride in it, then you don't know where that's going to take you. And I think that's the biggest thing too, that just in life, especially in sports, is someone may get hurt. That's your one opportunity, and you take pride in putting all that work, and now it's your time to shine, and you shine. That can be your spot. And I think that's where it's like I'm sure there's a lot of moments you couldn't be like, you know what? Yeah, I'd rather go home. I'd rather go do something that I'm comfortable in. But you were like, nah, I'm going to thrive in the comfortableness, and look where you're going. And relationships is everything, honestly. And it's like, look where it's got you now. But that relationship wasn't going to be created if you didn't take pride, if you didn't work hard and live in that moment to be successful at what you're at. And that, to me, it's like, it's the biggest thing is opportunity. And you didn't feel bigger than the opportunity, no matter how small it was. And that's huge, because then now look where you're at. And I think that's people we take pride in those things, whether it be like whether it be a cameraman of a show, but the next you're the main character, and now you were behind the scenes. Now you're the main character for a big franchise program, and that's cool to hear, man. And I'm glad you stuck it out, worked through it, because a lot of people probably could have jumped ship easy.
No, for sure. And I think one of those things too, Lira, is it's like, I didn't do this by myself. That's what I want to put out there 100%. It's the people that I was around, the people that are influenced. I heard something the other day from Butch Thompson. I think he's at Auburn. It's very important, the people that you run with, right? And the people that are around you and that are around you and that you put yourself around are making you better, right? And that's one thing I really I think I've tried to do over the years. Because you don't do this by yourself. There's a lot of people that help you along your path. Mm-hmm. But it's really important to really think about like who you're around and who you're putting yourself around that are going to push you to get better, and not always give you that easy way out or that confidence that you feel like you need. I think sometimes you just need to be challenged to be able to get to the spots where you want to be. And everybody creates their own path, but along the way, everybody gets help. And I definitely got help from the people around me. Some that I mentioned, and there's a lot of people that I'm leaving out as well. But I think that's super important. That never do it by yourself. Is the people around you that help you get to where you need to be, because you need people like that. And the other thing too. I don't know if Gus knows this, Chewy knows this, but like I feel uncomfortable sometimes talking about myself because I just like influencing the people around me as much as possible. But the one thing I feel like I've done over the years is betting on yourself is super important, and taking the risk is super important. Without taking the risk, you're never going to know what you left on the table, right? So that becomes super important for me to kind of mention. And sometimes you just have to bet on yourself and see where that takes you as well.
Yeah. No, for sure. Oh, I got a question. I mean, you said you took the bus from Sun Valley to Chatsworth. You didn't make the team as a freshman. So that itself, I mean, I don't even think I'll let my kids take the bus right now anywhere. I don't think my kid wouldn't know where the bus where to get the bus. First of all, times have changed. I mean, and then you get to Chatsworth, you get to Valley College, you make the All-Star game, and they pick you up at Arkansas. So all that stuff that I just mentioned, the culture that from where we come from. Does that? I mean, do you think that helped you a little bit? I mean, you firsthand, you help your dad work. I mean, you know what I mean? Like we grew up almost the same. Like facing adversity, facing like, man, like the word "I can't" doesn't exist. Stick it out, type deal. You want to hit that a little bit?
Yeah, that came from Miguel Marin, man.
Shout out to him.
That came from. My dad was a never say can't, right? The biggest thing he always challenged me on as a kid, you start something, you finish it, and you do it well, or else don't do it at all. I'll tell you a story that happened in Sun Valley Little League, and this will explain my dad. And this may seem harsh, but at the moment, it turned.
How old were you?
To something different. I was 10 years old, man.
Oh man, let's hear it.
I was catching. I was a catcher in Little League. Whatever, you play everything. Right. I had a good arm, so
you had a cannon. You had a hose piece.
You catch and play third and pitch. That's
it.
So I was catching, and remember this is Little League rules, right? So, you can't take leads, things like that. There was nobody on at the time. There was a ball in the dirt, and I one hand picked it, right? Threw it back. My dad goes over to the fence and he goes, "I need you to block that ball." And I go, "What does it matter? There's nobody on." He goes, Of course, because I knew everything at the time.
Right.
So it happens again. Ball got to the backstop. I didn't block it. "I need you to block that ball." I go, "Nobody's on." Happens one more time. He steps into the field.
Oof.
Right? He steps into the field, takes my mask off. "You don't play this game the right way, we're not going to play it." In the middle of the game, told me to get to the back of the truck. We drove home. This is 3 games into the season.
Oh, man.
The season just started.
He told me to go home, get back to the truck. We went home. He didn't let me play the rest of the season.
Oh, wow. Man.
He goes, "You're not going to do this the right way. You're not going to play the right way. You're not going to respect the game the right way. We're not playing. We're not doing this."
Yeah.
And obviously, the whole time I was begging to go back. And since then, I've never taken the game for granted or anything I did for the game.
Yeah.
That was just one instance. And one thing with my dad, the influence behind it is just and he still reminds me to this day, it hasn't stopped. The same reminder doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. He goes, "Make sure you're working hard. Yeah. Make sure you're helping the guys as much as possible."
Yeah, that's awesome.
He goes, "That's it. That's the number one thing with your job. Work hard, help them as much as possible."
Yeah.
And I've kept that ever since, mm-hmm. Because when we look at our dads, right? Yeah. My dad was a cook. He had 3 jobs at one point because I needed baseball gear, or he wanted to buy my, my sister a vehicle or help out with that. He had no say in "Oh, I can't do this." It was all "I'm going to figure out a way to get my kids what they need."
Yeah.
All right. So not get them whatever they want. It's just get them what they need. And so watching that influence as a kid for your father to basically do whatever it takes to get whatever done, I mean, that's what I took from my dad. And I think that was a big influence for it. So if it's taking the bus to go to school and taking the late bus and having be dropped off in some valley and run home because you don't want anybody to cause any trouble,
Right.
like, then you're doing that. You're not saying like, oh, I wish we could. You just do it. You find a way to do it.
Sacrifices.
So I think that was one of the things that really, influenced that. And because of that, right, like, we have late practice, right? We're not coming back like everybody else. So we're coming at nighttime. And then there was times where, you meet friends, you stay over at their houses and parents having to allow you to do that for the first time, they don't like it, but they understand what you need to do to get that done. But I think my dad was a big influence with that growing up. And just to never say quit, man. That's it.
Yeah, I can only imagine the faces on the coaches were like,
oh,
no,
it didn't matter.
Yeah,
it didn't matter.
What mattered? They lost their catcher and the third baseman. Like, damn it!
And their pitcher. They're like, dude, what are we gonna do now?
Yeah.
No, that's But I think and it's like it sucks, but those moments, they, like you said, it does seem harsh, but it's like, we can. I mean, shoot, back then you have a lot of times where, like my mom, she didn't like something. 'Cause my mom would be the one going to a lot of the games. My dad was a soccer guy, so he wouldn't be around. And my mom was a big Dodger fan, sports fan, Fernando Venezuela, all this. So we go, and if you didn't do something, and if you acted like you didn't want to be there, it was over with. She's like, you're not gonna waste my time and your time. We're out. And in the middle of the game, like I've left in the middle of the game quite a bit of times if it didn't look right. And I think that point it is true where it's like now it's Tommy, you don't want to leave a mark or a bad taste in people's mouths about who you are. And your representation of who you are is you represent the people around you, you represent the people that raised you, you represent everything of that, and you don't want to put a bad look on that. You want to take that for pride and go out there and do everything you bestly can. Because, like you said, and you do need those moments to realize, like, man, my dad made me look bad, made us look bad. But in reality, if I was doing my job, we don't look bad at all. And I think that's where you could take things about that. But nowadays, I don't know.
Man, times have changed.
You do that nowadays.
Come coach travel ball with us. At least one game. Come on, at least one game. They're the 9-year-olds, 13s, 8s.
Whatever you need.
We even got a 7U now. You name it. Let's go. Come on, man. Anyway, man, moving on. So you're with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Beautiful stadium, by the way. I got to go one day. One of these days, I gotta check out that stadium. It's on my bucket list. Yeah. Man, how's that? What does a normal routine look like for you there? I mean, there's times where I'm sure you got once that season hits 160 something games. What does that look like for you? Like, do you plan ahead from, I mean, I'm not comparing it, but if we got Cleveland, we're playing Cleveland, but then you're almost worried about the following week, Chatsworth. It's like, what do they got? Do we have to watch film on them? Like talk to our pitchers at the high school, like this guy, but it's like we're playing Cleveland still. What does it look like for you?
So yeah, it's obviously we have a lot more people on staff that help out with that process now as well. But with us, it's going series to series, right? It's really hard to win a major league game, right? So you want to be able to stay in that moment of who you're playing with at that time, right? So 3-game series, 4-game series, and it's the Dodgers. You want to concentrate on the Dodgers, right? You want to concentrate on that lineup, and you want to revisit things as you go. So we start with, a pregame series meeting, and we have a game planning guy that's phenomenal at what he does, and he breaks down all the hitters, the potential of lineups that are going to be coming up, when guys are going to get switched out. So if a right-handed reliever come in, the lefties are going to be switched out for the righties. And we have that pregame series where we're trying to go over all that and going over every hitter, and how your strength is going to work, against the hitter. Right. And what we try to do is go 80 strengths, 20% hitter weakness, because sometimes there's stuff that's so outlier that we don't want to ignore. But at the same time, we want our pitchers to pitch how they pitch, what they're really good at, what their strength at. We're not going to tell Paul Skeens or David Bednar not to throw their fastballs. They throw 100 miles an hour. You know what I mean? But it's
Right.
Really on how to finish a hitter off, how they're going to use it to certain guys. So we start with a pregame meeting before the series starts. And we go over everything, answer any questions that they may have. We go over who's the runners, we go over who's possible guys that bunt, hit and run, things like that. And we have some tendencies with certain guys as well. That's a big meeting that happens before, right? So all the relievers are there. The starters can choose to be there or not because they have their own individual plan, right? So then after that's done, all right, so we're going to take care of the starting pitcher that day, right? How is the starting pitcher going to attack the lineup that certain day? What feels good, what felt good in the past bullpen, what's been feeling good as of late? Do we need to adjust anything that we want to do? Are we going to go off of maybe use a certain pitch a little bit more than what we're used to, depending on the hitters in the lineup, possibly, but a lot of it has to do with their strengths, right? So the pitcher, catcher, game planning coach, myself, and now Brent Strom will be in those meetings, and we'll talk about certain things that we may possibly see, but what we try to influence is for our starting pitcher and our catcher to run their own meetings. And then we influence the things that we think may happen, right? So like, hey, just this guy the last 2 weeks has really struggled with spin pitches. His percentage of swing and miss is this. I think we can still, go heavy on this guy with spin. So just they have it in the back of their heads from there, right? So we take care of the starter then. We go over the same thing, runners, who's not a runner, things like that. And then from there, we have to go into our work day, right? So now I have to get ready for the side of that starter I have that day. So the side happens before the rest of the other pitchers come out, right? So now it's Bailey Falter. What's your goal for your side today? We talk about that before he goes out. That way he has a clear mind of what he's going to work on that day. We set up all of our tech. We set up our cameras. That's something that we're never without. So TrackMan, Edger, and we're going through the bullpen, not necessarily having to go pitch by pitch, but that's just information that we can get and look at afterwards. A certain release is off. We made an adjustment on a certain pitch, and those bullpens can go a different way. It could be a goal that we want to accomplish. It could be sequencing that we want to accomplish, or maybe even going to the team that they're going to face next, right? Hey, let's go over their four main hitters of who we're going to face, when you start, if it's not the team where we're playing at the time, right? So we take care of our bullpen. After we take care of our bullpen, the rest of the pitchers come out. The starters come out a little bit earlier. We spend some time with them, maybe early work with a couple of guys that we may need. And then that second wave, the relievers come out, and we try to make it a point, especially myself, to watch all these guys throw just to see where they're at, see how they're feeling. Sometimes you can tell a lot from that, and then do some early work for those guys there. Maybe there's a specific reliever that we want to work on something, whether it's a delivery, whether it's pitch, whether it's execution, and we take our time to do so, but also being careful on, this guy possibly needs to pitch that same night, right? So we try to plan all that out before we go out there. All right. So that wave comes up. All right. And then what happens upstairs is now we have a pregame meeting with our manager, our game planning guys, and we try to script out what's going to happen in the game and possibly the moves that we may need, who's available, who's not available, if our closer's thrown 3 days in a row, who's going to close if we don't want them to go 4 days in a row, things like that. So we try to script out that entire session there for us. After that's done, it's constant either video or discussions on certain guys. Hey, this is what I saw with this guy in this throwing program. Hey, tomorrow's side, so-and-so's going to throw. We probably need to get them ready for this. And it's just a constant thing. As soon as we get to the ballpark, everything that I just mentioned happens one right after another. You're always preparing. You're always planning.
When do you eat? You got to take a lunch.
You find pockets, obviously before, and then right when we come in from BP, where it's right before you try to get something to eat, right before you go into the next meeting that you need to have. Yeah.
Man.
No wonder you never answer our messages or our phone calls. I'm like, man, why isn't old? I'm just kidding.
It's
Like,
probably because I'm in a meeting with somebody.
Yeah, man, this
man.
sounds to me like the game is the easy part. Yeah, you get to the
Oh,
game.
and that's it, right? You take it like the prep of getting ready for a test, studying for a test, and then once the test comes, you're just trying to follow what you just did, right?
Once game time comes, Paul Skeens, that's Otani Paul Skeens. All right, you guys got this? Cool. Fastballs.
That should be the fun part for everybody, right?
Right?
The preparation's in. We did what we needed to do. Now it's time to play baseball.
I've been saying that all week.
Try to
13-year-olds.
Preparation's everything.
Like, man, absolutely. Wow, that sounds really, really hectic, but I'm sure it's a routine that you now have down, and obviously, again, you take pride in it, and I mean, it's something that you probably mastered. The preparation for that, and come game time, hey, go perform, man.
Always looking to get better, though. I wouldn't say
you haven't mastered it yet,
because things change over time, and you have to deal with different personalities. You have to deal with different types of pitchers, right?
Right.
And I think just over time, you kind of start getting the things that work, and you keep doing those, and the things that maybe haven't worked, you try to do them maybe a little bit differently.
Guys come and go.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, man, like that's that season process. But then in the off season, you got to go back. Like, let's say if you get new relievers or a new starter, now you got to redo that process in the sense of like figuring out what his strengths are. And I'm sure you already know Paulie already, even if because coming in and stuff, you'll know that. But it's just like, then you got to recycle that again and kind of go and be like, okay, you know what works for him now? How can that help? And then maybe. And I think, dude, I'm sure a lot of the players, the pitchers, and all that bounce things off each other, like off of you. But like, hey, you know what? I think I want to work on this. Yeah. It's working for him. Maybe I want to try that. Like, do you guys usually do that where it's like, hey, you know what? I want to work on something new on this today, or is it just like, you know what? These are your set pitches. We'll work on that in the off season.
I want to work on my spin rate.
No, I mean, those guys. That's what we try to influence as much as possible, is those guys giving feedback to each other, right? They're in the clubhouse together. They're playing catch together. They're talking off of the field, right, together. Right. So as much as they can share to help each other out, the better, right? So what we try to influence on our side, especially with the Pirates, is how can we get our guys to be their best pitching coaches? Not that we're not going to be there to help them out, right? Yeah. But being their best pitching coaches and taking ownership over some of that and not getting those guys is like, hey, man, I'm off, just fix me. That's probably the worst thing that I want to hear. I really want to hear is like, all right, well, what's going on? What have you tried? How do you feel when you're trying to do it this way? And that way they kind of get to start answering the questions for themselves, and you're directing them toward a path that they want to go to. Yeah. When it comes to, drills, what to move forward with, things like that. That's what we're there for. We're going to do that. We're going to be pitching coaches, right? But our goal is to make them their best pitching coaches, because for myself and the way I was taught, you want to call yourself a really good pitching coach, but when they're not with you, are they still having success? Are they still taking the things that they learned from you, or what you structured for them so they can learn on themselves and take them with them for their entire career? Wow. That's, for me, the true measure of somebody that's influencing somebody else, right? Can you make them the best version of themselves for themselves?
Wow. Yeah, I think that helps in-game adjustments too. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yep. Because like you're messing up a lot. Oh wow, I got to do this now, and because you were your own pitching coach and you realize your own body and you realize what works, what doesn't, what adjustments you need to make. You don't need a coach to yell it out to you. You can figure that out yourself. Because a lot of good players are going to be able to figure out that they're missing this spot because of this, and and a lot of times that happens, and a lot of we try to teach a lot of young athletes, especially pitchers, like, hey, don't get frustrated. Figure out why it's happening so you can make those in-game adjustments. Because we can only do so much, right? We can yell out, hey, release point, but they're the ones that are feeling, hey, my body's tweaking, I'm falling off to the left a little bit. I got to go straight to the mound. Straight to home plate. And I think that's where they're realizing help them out, because also you work with the pitchers and all that in high school. It's like you got to start taking accountability of learning how to fix something on the spot because it's
Hmm.
going to help you in the long
Well,
run.
like
You
said, I
know?
mean, the cameras is nowadays like the camera is huge. Like like, in a game, it happens so fast, or in a bullpen, whatever, it could happen so quick.
Mhm.
But then you go back and you break it down. You're
Yeah.
like, hey, look, check it out, sit down.
And I'm
You
sure
know,
you guys have that in between games, like in between innings, right? Like you can go be like, "Hey, video, and look what you're doing."
Yeah, really quickly, we have the MLB camera angles that they share on an iPad for us, just in case like something does feel off. We can go back and check, especially with delivery,
yeah,
with the pitches and the movement. We can see some stuff, but like with the release out of the hand and how it happens, that's something that really can happen more so
yeah.
afterwards. But there are some stadiums now, and we have it as well. We can look at the metrics in between innings
Oh
to see
wow.
Oh
if the
wow.
pitch metrics are off or not. And some stadiums actually put it up in their scoreboard,
Oh
right?
wow.
So you can just look up and be like, all right, the fastball's not as verty today. You
Hmm.
know, maybe we can adjust something from there. And that's where the in between, coaching of a pitching coach happens, right? It's like, all right,
Right.
like how are you feeling? I see your fastball's not as verty. What do you feel? Oh, I'm feeling a little bit like rotational, like I'm casting. Okay, let's try this adjustment and see if we get it back. Make sure you lock this in your warm ups. And more often than not, guys make those types of adjustments.
You're like, hey, Paul, you're only at 100. Are you all right? You're only at 100. Like, are you good? Like, 103 maybe? Like, let's come on. Let's go.
Yeah.
Are you just warming up right now? Sorry, I had to throw that in there, man. Hey, let's talk about that guy,
Yeah,
man.
let's go. Let's do it.
Man, how that guy's special. Look at that.
Oh,
Woo,
that's the stash, bro. That's the
man.
stash.
I got to watch him pitch at the College World Series in Omaha a couple years ago, and I mean, I was sitting in left field, I think, and it looked hard from out there. I mean, I can only imagine what it looks like up close. Talk about him. He's special. We all know he's special. It's like, whoa, you know?
Um, it's different. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It is special. Obviously, I don't have to explain what the stuff he has and,
Yeah, yeah.
how nasty his pitches are. That he is everything like that. What is special about him that really sticks out for me is the motivation he has to be great. Right? Like I've read like everybody I think has in LA about the Mamba mentality, right? And just the desire to be great, right? And this guy's desire to be great is right there. It's in everything. It's taking care of his body. It's is feeling out his delivery. It's knowing what pitches are going to work, and looking at information to see how his stuff's going to play off of maybe other pitches. Looking at hitters and their tendencies. Like this man always is prepared for everything that he's going to do, whether it's a weight room routine, the bullpen routine that he
Yeah.
has,
That
structured,
is crazy.
heavy. Um, everything is about how can I be great. So when he looks at his year, I think he's mentioned it before. It's like he's not really looking at things he wants to accomplish. Is how great can he be?
Yeah.
And those things naturally just happening on their own, right?
Right.
It's everybody puts on goals and goals that you want to have. I think his goal is just to be great. He wants to be better than anybody that has ever played the game, but he also reaches out to the people that are great and picks their brain. We'll find him talking to guys in the outfield like Chris Sale, Garrett Cole. Like he'll just seek them out, go talk to them, and just pick their brains because that's what he wants to be. He wants to be a great major league pitcher.
Wow.
And I think that's the influence that he carries with everything that he does.
His pregame routine's insane.
Yeah. And everything is structured for him to be able to feel what he needs to feel in his delivery. His football throws and what kind of arm action he wants to feel with the football throws that leads onto, his throwing program, the amount of throws he makes in his throwing program, when he starts spinning in his throwing program, what feel does he want to get there? When he goes and touches the mound, what type of plyos he wants to do off of the mound to be able to get ready to throw. A stretch stick to be able to hold his pelvis and really feel his load and his hinge. Like everything is structured so he's prepared as much as possible. Once the game starts, it's go time. And it's all right. I feel like I did everything to be able to execute whatever I want at this point. And he's human, right? It's a pitcher. Sometimes he's going to feel different things and he'll have to adjust in the game. But I think it makes it a lot easier for him to adjust in the game because of the things that he does to prepare himself for.
Right.
And that is why he's so confident.
Yeah.
It's preparation.
100%.
I mean, you can't deny that he's not prepared to be for whatever it is. And that's the biggest thing is that he is doing everything in his power with you to prepare himself to be ready for whatever it is. And whatever it is, I'm confident enough that I'm going to be that guy and I'm going to beat you with it. And I mean, that probably takes hours, probably takes majority of his day, right? But that's him because he want to be great. And I think that's where when you turn on that mindset, man, and you turn that
mama mentality.
That mama mentality, man, it rubs off to, and it's gonna rub off to the other pitchers. Trust me when I tell you, you're gonna have other guys there doing and really making sure their preparation's through the roof because it is gonna pay off. And I think that's a culture builder. Yeah. That's somebody you want in your locker room, in your clubhouse. You want somebody there to be your leader of a pitching staff, to go there and be like, hey, you know what? And he's not afraid, I'm sure, to be held accountable. And I think that's great as well because, you know, not a guy, especially if he's seeking out that thinks he knows it all. It's just, no, I want to keep learning.
There's a Paul Skeens jersey, by the way.
Bro. But do you feel like Paul Skeens right now? That's the real question.
I don't know about feeling like Paul Skeens, but not quite yet. I haven't had my coffee yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But man, it's preparation is everything, man.
There you are.
Oh.
Man.
How's the stash, though? How is it? Does he take care of that? Does he have a little comb with him? Like Chewy does?
Like Chewy does? Does he take out his back pocket and just go like this? Like,
I don't think it's as drastic as Chewy's, but it's a good mustache.
Hey, you ever catch yourself throwing a football with him or no? Or you have somebody?
Yeah, but I sling it like Phillip Rivers, man. I can't pick my arm that high anymore. I'll sidearm Mahomes that thing.
Hey, are you hitting fungals out there or no?
No, I haven't done that for a while now.
What?
Oh man!
So PFPs,
spring training time probably happens, but once we get into the season, we have our infield guys.
Oh, okay. Well, in spring training, are you hitting fungals? Are you hitting PFPs and all that?
I'm gonna try to this time.
I'm gonna try to. He said, start hitting lasers,
right?
Yeah, I don't think you remember. I hit lasers.
That's why I asked him. Like, you got to be hitting fungals. I'm sure. Oh, that's awesome. That's great, man.
Yeah, that's. To explain him is it's as simple as that. This man wants to be great, you know, and there's influences that he gets from anywhere. If he feels like it can help him, he's going to try it, you know. And I think that's what makes him, you know. Yeah. Obviously, the stuff that happened and the velocity that he has, he worked on that and he accomplished that at LSU, you know. And he credits the people that he worked there, and they did a great job with him, you know. So he still continues to reach out and whenever he needs something to make sure he stays there as well.
So that velocity is not God-given? That's actually worked on? The velocity is not...
He had velocity before he got there, but not the type of velocity.
Yeah. That's crazy, though.
I mean, different kind of baseball, too, from college to MLB.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so for his stuff to move that great, it's like, you know, I mean, the scenes are on it. It's like from a college baseball, I'm assuming, to MLB one, it's probably a lot different. You know, so he's got good stuff.
He adjusted really well. He started messing with the big league ball.
Yeah, he did.
Early in the off season, just to be able to get used to it. So but it's that was it. And I think the last thing I'll say about him wanting to be great, and Lira, you mentioned it already. All that preparation when you talk about confidence, I don't think there's anybody more confident than this man when he steps on the mound. And there's a reason behind it. And I think it's because of that. It's he knows he's prepared and to be great, and the confidence to be great and be great is always there. I don't think it ever takes like a day off, you know. Wow. So mentality behind what we need to do and what you think you can do, I think that's probably the difference maker that he has as well, right? There's never a moment where he doesn't think he can do something.
Man,
that's all it is, man.
You want to FaceTime him?
Yeah, got me fired up, man. Got me fired up, man.
Man,
that's great though.
You meet with them, all your pitchers, what, a couple weeks?
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Off-season check-ins, things like that. Traveled around, went to go see a couple of guys, see how they're doing.
Okay.
Part of the off-season that we have, just make sure we have check-ins and making sure they're in a good spot. And if they need anything, we're there to help them out. But
you excited to face that Dodger lineup?
that,
You excited to face that Dodger lineup?
you know what? Anytime we face the Dodgers, it's always exciting.
Yeah.
Always exciting.
Yeah.
Hey, how does it feel coming back, to the stadium? I mean, I know we've seen you a couple of times. We had dinner. How does it
I'll
feel?
tell you what. So, I mean, I grew up going to Dodger games with my dad. As the
You grew
first,
up as a Dodger fan.
yeah, that's what I mean. Bleacher seats with my dad.
Yeah.
We were
Peanuts.
the last ones. We were the last ones to leave because my dad hated the fact that everybody left early. So every single game, he didn't care about traffic. He's like, we already committed to come to the game. We paid for the entire game. We're staying for the entire game. So it's just memories with my dad is really what hits it. So the first time I was in Dodger Stadium, in a big league uniform, that was a cool feeling.
Yeah.
That was a cool feeling. Everything kind of came together in that spot. When I showed up early that day, the first time we came in, I showed up early and I went out and just walked around Dodger Stadium on the field by myself just to kind of take it all in. So I didn't have to do that once the game started.
Man, that's dope.
Man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And I got to meet, may you rest in peace. I got to meet Fernando Valenzuela at the booth with Jaime Marin. And that was probably one of the coolest things I've ever done.
That's awesome, man. That's great. Yeah. I can only imagine how it feels to come back home and, what
Childhood
memories
dream.
you have and, in left field.
But I will tell you this much. As soon as the game started, I'm not a Dodger fan. That's for damn sure.
I bet. I mean,
competitiveness,
yeah, the
right?
competitiveness, and you're like, F that. We're going to strike this guy out here. Hey,
Yep.
let's go
That
win.
didn't matter. There's no blue running anymore.
No, I get it.
No.
Totally
Black
get it,
and
man.
gold, man.
Black and yellow,
Hey,
baby.
black and yellow.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, man, shoot, your turf shoe game is on fire. You guys are, man. Let's see it. Look at that. Oh my god, you're out there in Jordan 1s.
Oh man.
Wow, man. Look at that. I like
Hey,
that
listen,
jersey.
I never owned a pair of Jordans growing up.
He said, "I'm gonna get all of them now."
Yeah, what are we wearing today?
If I can match it up to the uniform, that'd be great. Because other than that, I'm very simple. PP top.
Yeah,
pants.
You know what's funny with Birmingham? It's the first time we ever went Nike this year, and man, we're so excited. We're like, what are we gonna wear? We're like, what shoes are we gonna wear? So we haven't decided we're gonna wear yet, but it's always been New Balance. And of course you win it, you don't want to change it up. You go back to the stadium, you lose. You're like, hey man, let's try something new here. So we lost last year too. So we got to change it up a little bit.
Baseball people aren't stitches.
Exactly. Man, that's dope. Man, your shoe game's on point.
Yeah,
Love it.
I really wanted to ask this and see if does that one knee really get low strikes? Like, does it work for the most part?
Objectively, absolutely. I mean, that's what I have to say. Objectively, when you run the numbers, it does. And I know there's different feelings about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we FaceTime Rocks. I'm listening to the link right now.
I've talked to Rocks briefly a couple of years back about it. I've heard him on the podcast.
Yeah.
And
I mean, everybody. Kurt Suzuki he also everybody has mixed emotions about it.
Yeah, everybody has mixed emotions, but
Yeah.
I'm just talking objectively.
Of course.
This day and age, certain people are getting signed because of it.
Yeah.
So if certain people are getting signed because of it, getting more opportunities because of it, influence and more strikes in the zone, analytically, that's something that you have to keep in mind. And everybody has their own preference, though. Some guys have done it with not the one knee down. Some guys do it that way, but it's everybody's preference. So we had a veteran catcher last year who did it as well, which was Grandal, and he was great at it. So I think it's a preference for everybody. But if you're asking me objectively, yeah, it does help. It has
There you
helped.
go.
Man,
See?
who do you guys got behind the dish this year?
We have Joey Bart, right? And then we have obviously our young guys coming up. We have Henry Davis. We have Lindy
Lefty?
Rodriguez.
Henry Davis. That sounds familiar.
He's right-handed, Louisville catcher.
Okay, okay, there you go.
First round. Indy Rodriguez
Wow.
and Jason DeLay.
How important are those guys?
Joey,
They're huge. I'm glad we finally got to the cat.
Yeah, let's do it. You got time? We got some time here.
Man, the guy behind the plate it's very influential.
We got time, Sam? Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
Guy behind the plate is very influential, right? He's your pitching coach that's on the field.
Yeah.
We can't say he's putting down the fingers because his buttons now.
Yeah.
The preparation that they have going into it is just as important as a pitcher. And our catchers last year, Joey Bart and Grandal, right? Grandal was AG when they came to breaking down lineups, tendencies, what guys were doing in the box, if they're adjusting it, they're not,
Wow.
And Joey Bart did a nice job as well. Really going into a true media account that we all have, breaking down hitters, seeing which pitches are best versus right versus left, things like that. Their preparation needs to be just as good or even better than the pitchers at times.
Wow.
Because they're the ones leading it. Back there.
They got front row seats.
Yeah, and then getting to know who they have in front of them, right?
Yeah.
Who's in front of them? Like, how's this stuff play? What are the shapes that they're going to be featuring and how you're going to use them? So a catcher is extremely important to be on the same page as everybody else as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, man, some
Catchers are
great
huge, man.
content, some
Yeah,
great
for
info, man. We're coming to an end here. I am fired up for my high school and Braves practice later. Just talking to you, I really am. I got some goosebumps throughout the show, through the episode, man, because it just brings back a lot of memories. And yeah, man. Honestly, thanks for joining. Thank you to my brother for making it happen. This was great. This was awesome. I hope you had a blast. I see the Pedro Martinez glove behind you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I see you have the Pirates hat and whew, man. Lira?
But no, man. Yeah, appreciate it again, man. Thank you for taking your time, especially right now. It's probably getting even busier just because you guys are about to head out and start the off season and going into spring training and everything. So we do appreciate it, man. Thank you for your insights on that, and I'm sure a lot of people are excited to see how Pulse Kings works, and
Yeah,
give
for
us a little
sure.
insight on that, and we appreciate that, and thank you for answering our questions, and thank you for your time, man. It's
But we're gonna hit you with some rapid questions. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here you go. Pitch clock or no pitch clock?
Pitch clock.
Oof, new school, man. Damn. Okay, we didn't get into that, but I can only imagine. Like,
We'll do it in a different podcast.
exactly,
that's for
exactly. All right, here we go. Favorite MLB player of all time? I think I know this answer. Yep, Pedro Martinez. Got it. Okay, here we go. DH or no DH?
DH.
DH? Even as a pitching coach, you don't want to see the pitchers hit?
DH.
DH.
He said, "I don't want to see my guys get hurt."
I don't want to see my guys get hit. Okay, got it. Pitch comp or straight signs from you guys?
No, pitch comp. I don't want to get picked.
He said, I don't want to get, especially at that level, right? Okay. All right, sounds good. Let's go. Dodger dog or nachos?
I mean, it's got to be a hot dog every time.
He didn't say Dodger dog though.
no.
Got it. No way. All right. Favorite kind of seeds? Sunflower seeds.
Ooh, salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
The spits.
The spits, salt and
Okay.
pepper.
Okay.
Okay.
Man, because I'm stuck on the hot Cheeto ones and all kinds of stuff right now. We
Cheeto
have
ones.
we have all kinds of stuff over here at 7-Eleven right now.
When you start getting older, it doesn't sit well in the stomach anymore.
Man, I catch myself like buying all kinds of like seeds. I'm like, you should see my backpack. I'm like, all right, I start giving out to the kids. Here you go. Here you go. All right, man. Thank you for joining. Say hi to the family. God bless you and the fam. And this was a blast, man.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys having me on. I've been listening to the podcast as you guys keep having it. I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job with this. And, for your kids to be listening to this as well, I think it's incredible the way you guys are doing it, and I appreciate you guys for having me on.
All right.
Yeah, man. No, thank you again, and good luck this season.
Yep.
And everything. Hopefully it goes well, and then hopefully we catch you at a Dodger game when we do see you out there, and hopefully we can go around that time. But then again, thank you guys for
Thanks,
episode 36.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All right.
O.
We out.
And we out.
Thanks, though.
Thank you.